In our last episode, I showed you how to hide and show these administration links depending on if the current user is an admin. So, this is our application controller, and it all comes down to this admin method. If this returns true, then it shows the links. If it returns false, then the links disappear and it restricts the access. So what we need to do is have this return true or false dynamically depending on if the currently logged in user is an admin. Now this can get a little bit tricky, and there's a ton of different ways to do it, which is why I saved this step for last. The approach most people take is to create an entire user registration and authentication system. And by that I mean they build a user model, add a registration page, and so on. If you want to do this approach, there's an excellent plugin called Acts as Authenticated, which you just install the plugin and run the generator script, and it creates a user model and controller for you to manage the authentication for that user. It's pretty simple, but it works very well. And this is by Rick Olson, which is extremely good at Rails. But there's also a sister plugin called RESTful Authentication by Rick Olson as well. It does basically the same thing, but if you have a RESTful design, you want to go with RESTful Authentication. If I went with this approach, I would probably do a couple different things. I could call current user. This will return the logged in user. And then maybe see if the name matches admin. So if I register with the username admin, and then every time that user logs in, he will have access to all of the links in the administration section of the website. Another way to do it, which actually I prefer, is to add an admin boolean method inside of your user table. What this means is then if the boolean method returns true, you could just call admin like this. If it returns true, then of course the user will be considered an admin. If not, if it's false inside of the database, then the user won't be an admin, and you will just see the public side of the site. Now this is an excellent approach if you actually need this kind of user registration and authentication system for your public users. But my website is so simple here. I'm just managing episodes here. I don't need an entire user registration system. So I'm going to go with something quite a bit simpler than having a user model. So I'm not going to use any kind of plugins or anything. Let's just try going with something simpler. Now if you want to go extremely bare bones simple, you can just call remote.request. I got that reversed. Request.remote IP address, and see if it matches, the IP address of the computer that you want to have the administrator run on. Now this is a little bit limiting, of course, because you can't administer on different computers and so on. But if your website is very simple, this might work. But I'm not going to go with this approach. It's a little bit too limiting for me. So instead of doing that, I'm going to build a very simple login page where you just accept the password, and then if the password is correct, you get to see the administration links. So first let me show you what I built. Go to the login page, you just get a password. If you type in a password, I should make that a password field, but oh well, it's just plain text. Then you successfully log in. Right now it doesn't show the administration links because this admin method, I haven't implemented it. But let me show you what I did to build this login form. What I did was create a new controller. It's called Sessions Controller because I'm doing a RESTful design. And although you can't see it here, this has a new action, which is right here. It has the password login form. Very simple. And when this form gets submitted, it goes into the create action, which says the session's password. It stores the password, typed in password, inside of a session. Displays the login message and redirects to the home page. It's extremely simple. Now what I want to do is take a look at the session password inside of this admin method and compare it to whatever I want the password to be. So just grab the session password and just compare it to whatever I want it to be. And now when you log in as foobar, successfully logged in, and you see the administration links. Then when you log out, this logout goes to the destroy action here, which resets the session. Successfully logged out, you go back to the home page, and there's no more links. So that's a very simple way to do the user administration section of your site. Now you may be wondering, a little off topic here, but you may be wondering how I got this login action to go to the session new action, and that's all handled by the routes. So here's our routing routes.rb file, and we have our login and logout here. Login goes to the sessions new action, logout goes to the sessions destroy action. That's pretty simple. So that's how I did the user administration section for the railcast website. It's a very simple approach, but hey, if your site needs something super simple, I think it'll work for you. So give that a try. If you have any comments about this episode or suggestions for future episodes, please email them to feedback@railscasts.com.